Genworth's social media strategy. So, Steve, can you start off with providing the audience with a bit of background on Genworth?
Absolutely, and let me first just say hello to you, Mila, and thanks so much for having me on this call today. Genworth Financial is a financial security company. We're in over 25 countries across the world. We do everything from long-term care products to life insurance products, annuities, reverse mortgages. Me personally, I work in the mortgage insurance division. There, we help people buy a house and keep it their home, and that's what our ultimate goal is.
Great. So Steve, can you talk about the genesis of Genworth's social media strategy, and then go into how you ended up taking the reins on the whole process?
Certainly, and I'm almost going to do it in the reverse order there.
Okay.
My job and my goal here at the company is I'm our national spokesperson. So I go out all over the country and I talk to groups basically in every state, and I also do a lot of web-based or webinar presentations. And what happened was we said, how else can we get our message out there, knowing that the social media was this upcoming and emerging marketplace, so to speak, that's out there. How can we then apply and get our message through this new media that's out there? So that's how it came to be, and since I was, for lack of a better term, the evangelist getting the message out there, they asked me to take the reins and run that.
I see. So what were your initial goals when establishing the strategy?
Corporate Rise, our initial goal, and I think we missed the point here, and I'm more than happy to have people learn from our mistakes, but it was sort of just get there, and that was very easy just to get there. It's very easy to start a Facebook site. It's very easy to get on LinkedIn or to get on Twitter, something like that. So that was the initial goal, but once we did that, which took no time whatsoever, it was really what are we trying to accomplish, and we had to realize that it's not a one-to-one type of a relationship. It's not, hi, you're on Twitter, now the loans and the mortgages are going to just start rolling in. It's something that takes a little bit more time. So when we sat back, we thought about what was going on, and there's just so many, when it comes to mortgage insurance, there's so many misconceptions, misperceptions, and misunderstandings about our product. My personal ultimate goal was to go out there and make sure that people understood our product, because the better they understood our product and how it helped consumers, the more easy they would be able to sell it. And that's really what our initial goal was to get the understanding and the truth out there about our product.
Great. So how has that now evolved? Are you using it for service and selling purposes?
The evolution has been tremendous. It's more along the lines of not just the selling or the service. It's how can we help train and educate. So what ends up happening is we use Facebook or Twitter to announce training classes that we're having about mortgage insurance, and that can invite other people in to understand and learn about the product. So the social media doesn't really disseminate the actual information, but what it does is it starts the conversation, and therefore people will get engaged in the conversation, hopefully come to these training classes or things of that nature, or start to read a blog. We'll post about a new blog that just came out that'll discuss certain aspects of our product, and therefore they'll be able to learn more about it.
Steve, what were some of the initial challenges that you had to overcome in terms of getting your employees on board with this and using it?
I think the first one, and I think a lot of organizations will actually find this, is everybody says, okay, how much money are we going to make? And people had to realize very quickly that this wasn't, once again, a one-to-one type ratio where they're going to come out and they're going to say, okay, we did one posting, how many loans came in from the door? This is something that's more, it's one of the tools in the toolbox, if I could be cliche for a second, but it really is an enhancement to our marketing efforts. So the first challenge was to have people realize that it's not a standalone, that it's something that has to work out with the other marketing efforts that we are doing. The other thing that came aboard was a lot of our technology restrictions. We've been in a financial company. There are definitely some guidelines and rules that we need to comply with, and we had to make sure that the technology was there and people would be comfortable with what was being posted, with what was being said, and how we were communicating out there to the marketplace.
And how did you overcome such compliance issues?
I guess I'm real fortunate because the way that this all evolved, it wasn't me in a sitting by myself saying this is something that we need to do. One of the neat things was senior management bought in very quickly and easily, and once senior management bought in, it was easy to say to compliance, hey, Senior management has goals around this. They want us to do this. So instead of me trying to do something and coming to you, compliance, for a blessing afterwards, can I get you involved early on, understanding through it from my perspective, from compliance perspective, and from senior management's perspective, this is what we are trying to accomplish. So once compliance says, okay, I'm part of this team from the beginning and this is something that we want to accomplish, they aren't somebody who stands up and says, this is what you can't do. They try and figure out how to get your goals accomplished, and especially because senior management had signed off on those goals, they wanted to be a part of that conversation as well.
I see. So, Steve, what advice do you have for companies who are, as you say, missing the boat with social media?
Well, a couple things come to mind here. First thing, be patient. It's not something that's going to happen immediately. Nobody is going to find you day one when all of a sudden you open up a Twitter account or a Facebook account or a LinkedIn and they're going to say, oh, now I need to get involved with that company. This is something that does take a little bit of time. Unlike traditional advertising where you're on television and you say, call us now within the next 30 minutes and you'll get a special offer. This is not that. This is an ongoing conversation to get people comfortable with you and to start a relationship. That's what you really want is a relationship. A relationship is a long-term thing, so please be patient. That's one of the things that I think a lot of companies have issues with. And the other thing that I talk about, and this has been an evolution for us where, as we said earlier in the conversation, it was just get online, and then it was, well, try and accomplish this, and then it was, why aren't we doing that? I've laid it out, and I do some training sessions on this actual topic of there's really 4 must-haves when it comes to social media. So if you're an organization saying, what is it that we're going to do with social media, I say if you can answer these 4 questions, then you're ready to proceed to actually get online. And number 1 is, what's your reason? What are you trying to accomplish? What's your goal here? What is your reason for entering the social media world? And number 2, after you know what your reason is, what's your strategy? How are you going to accomplish that reason that you've just set up? Is it best to go in through Facebook? Is it best to go in through Twitter? Or do you want to do a combination of both? So once you establish your reason and your strategy, number 3 is, what's your message? What are you going to say to people? What is it that you're trying to get out there? A lot of people will say, let's just get out there and we'll shout from the top of rooftops and as loud as we can that we're great. Well, that's not a great message. You got to figure out what truly the message wants to be and what's going to resonate with the people that are out there, which leads you to number 4. When I say resonate with the people that are out there, who are those people? Who is your audience? That's the 4th question. Who is your audience that it's going to go to? I look at a lot of sites like Facebook, and I have absolutely nothing against Facebook. I like Facebook very much. I use that a lot of times for business, and it works very well. But Facebook is very proud to say right now, we have 500 million users. If we were, I believe they say, if we were a country, we'd be the number 2 largest country in the world. Well, while there are 500 million users, for me, when it comes to mortgage insurance, private mortgage insurance, and I'm in the U.S. division, we're not doing any business in certain countries. So even though that's a global and it might work for us that way, from the U.S., I'm not interested in reaching out and touching people from other countries. I'm also not interested in reaching 10, 11, and 12 years olds because they're not ready to purchase a home yet. So you really need to hone down and figure out who is your target audience, see where they are, and that's how you can help develop that strategy.
Great advice, Steve. Finally, can you share with the audience how you may plan to grow Genworth's social media strategy?
We have a couple things that are in effect right now. We have a couple neat websites, one of which is called Restore the Dream. And when you go to that site, what we're trying to do is it's in its infancy now, so I wouldn't even recommend that you necessarily go there now, but hopefully that will become a virtual community that will be able to be out there and help stroke the conversation and keep people together having that conversation. We have our webinar offerings are growing every single day, so we're doing more and more training online, and we're starting to have pre-recorded trainings, and we're looking at posting them on YouTube. And lastly, what we just started, and this is more internal, but I think it's a really neat idea, is we're talking about what's called the Facebook Flash. A lot of companies go out and they tell their employees, we want you to help promote the company, but they really don't tell you what that means and what you want me to do on Facebook. So what the Facebook Flash says, here, once a week, once every other week, once a month, or once we have something to talk about, here's what we would like you to post on your status in your Facebook account. So there, your profile. So therefore, you're sending out that positive message and you're helping the employees understand what it is that you're trying to get out there.
Great. I look forward to checking back in and seeing those changes in the near future.
To learn more about relationship strategy, visit www.one-to-onemedia.com.